Hey, this is Sully for antisocialnews.com, and I need to talk to you about the PewDiePie thing. Um, he dropped the N word on his feed. I wasn't watching it at the time. I do actually tune into PewDiePie's live feed, and I did actually become a sponsor this month so that I could comment on his feed, really just to shill my channel. And uh, because he has millions of views for every video, and and paying that little bit of money lets you get your name out there, and you'd be surprised how many sub for sub responses I got just by posting on his thing and saying a few funny little quips here and there, and I have to say when he said the N word, which is a disgusting word. Um, Personally, not a word that I use. It is not in my vocabulary. You can get me completely slosh hammered drunk, and that word is not going to slip out accidentally like with a lot of people I know. Um, uh, it's just something that I've not put in my vocabulary because I know I'm not supposed to. I have people in my life that are vocal about it, and some of those were my parents who raised me to not say words like that. And some are friends, like fellow free speech YouTuber Anthony Bryan Logan, who believes in freedom of speech to an extent, draws the line at the N word. Doesn't want people using it, doesn't like his friends to use it, and yeah, I respect that. I do have to say though, I don't think it makes sense for me, a progressive slash liberal American, to project my understanding of that word onto a foreign person, and not just a foreign person, but a foreign guy with autism. Um, he he doesn't have the same, this is one of those things that's thrown around a lot when people are talking about white privilege and this and that. He doesn't have the same life perspective, the as somebody here in America. And so for us to be like, he's the worst person in the world, it's like, I I, I don't know. So I want to go ahead and let's look at his response here. He's responded to the criticism.
You
Uh,
probably won't. Hello? I wanted to make a statement on what I said in my previous live stream. You probably won't believe me when I say this, but whenever I go online and I hear other players use the same kind of language that I did, I always find it extremely immature and stupid.
and I want to jump in here and explain what he's talking about. If you've ever been on free speech forums or forums that aren't heavily regulated, um, and sometimes that would be a Discord chat for gamers or uh, a 4chan bulletin board system sort of place. People say stuff, and a lot of times there's no picture, and they're yelling at another person with no picture. Half of 4chan is a 5 to 10 integer line segment of numbers calling another 5 to 10 integer line segment the N word. So if you are not from the United States of America and you don't know exactly the stigma of the word, uh, for you, you might think that that word is just a cuss word. Like I say a lot of cuss words. My friends who are very conservative and don't cuss have some sort of cuss words that they say. I personally like Fuck, cunt, shit, bitch, piss. I love those words. They're really fun to say. If if you are from another country and you see those words said, and then the N word and the F word tossed in there a lot, for you, you might just think that that word fits right into those words. It's just another one of those words. So these words are bad, especially if you're being groomed by Disney. You know you're not allowed to say these words, and you might just sort of think that those other words, those slurs, fit right in there. And why would it not be reasonable to think that? To basically give somebody the benefit of the doubt to think that a Swedish guy with autism from a whole different life experience would have a different understanding, and as he does here, basically says, "Whoopsie daisy,
And
won't
I
do that again."
hate how I now personally fed into that part of gaming as well. It was something that I said in the heat of the moment. I said the worst word I could possibly think of,
And that's there. There's that right there. He knows it's a bad word. He knows it's the worst word he could possibly think of. I'm not going to show the whole video, not just because I don't want to copyright strike, but because you kind of you can go see it for yourself. I'll put a link to it off of this. But yeah, he's he's uh, he's got a different way of thinking, a different way of looking at things. For him, he said a bad word because he wanted to say a bad word, and so his brain picked the worst word it could think. And I got to tell you, I had a I had a gamer roommate when I lived in College Park, and he was super liberal, super Democrat. But yeah, when he was gaming, it was the worst, all the worst words. And he even told me one time my girlfriend at the time was visiting. He didn't know that, and he had just gone on this like slur and cuss word filled tirade, and then she like walks out of my room and goes to the bathroom, and he came up to me and apologized later about his like cussing and all that. And I just thought it was so funny because it was like, you know, he felt so bad about somebody hearing it, but he doesn't feel bad about saying it and about it being, that darkness being within him. But that's an American guy who specifically tried to say the worst things so that other players would hear him saying the worst things, and then he goes on, hangs out with his multiracial, multi-ethnic friends, and then votes incredibly liberally, incredibly Democrat. So the thought that I should um, boycott, divest, and sanction PewDiePie for him, a Swedish guy with autism, for saying a word that he has a different understanding of than we do here. Uh, I think that's silly. Now that he 100% knows he's not supposed to say that word, hopefully this won't be an issue in the future, and this is it. But whatever. It is what it is. I'm going to keep supporting the Pewds at the moment. So the Pewds, the PWDD. You'll still get a few bucks from me occasionally, and I'll still post on your stream. And yes, the First Amendment must protect all speech, especially offensive speech, because to someone, all speech is offensive. And with that, I bid you and everyone out there in wild, wild internet land a good night. Bro fist. Pootie pie. I'll say dirty word. Babe. Must respect.